Who's this Santa? He's scaring my kid.
Yeah, he's scaring me too.
Hey, Santa's handing out presents!
Hello there, my name is Chris. You're watching Cinemaniac Central, and this is my Cineslashathon, and as it continues, we are going to talk about Terrifier 3. So yes, I finally got a chance to go check out Terrifier 3 today in the theater. Unfortunately, I was not able to check it out last Friday because I was sick. I've been dealing with that all week, so I appreciate you guys' patience on that, but let's dive into Terrifier 3. So with Terrifier 3, this picks up about 5 years after the events of Terrifier 2, and here we are caught up with Sienna, who has spent the last 5 years in a psychiatric ward and is now staying with her aunt and uncle and younger cousin for the Christmas holiday. Meanwhile, Art has pretty much visited a family of 4, annihilated them. He visits a bar Santa, and also as well as a college university. Eventually, finding his way to Sienna, where they engage in another battle much bigger than the last. So I enjoyed the first Terrifier. When Terrifier 2 was announced a couple years ago, or 3 years ago, I was like, okay, that could be interesting. That's cool. And Terrifier 2 was a big surprise, critically and commercially. And so, unfortunately, I was not able to check out Terrifier 2 in the theater. It was not playing near me, so I had to wait till it was on streaming. Watched it, absolutely loved it. Big improvement over the original. And so, yeah, and then they were talking about there being a Terrifier 3 and making it a Christmas movie. And I was like, hell yeah, man. Because basically, if you take a slasher and you mix in Christmas elements, you're going to win me over. And so, after seeing Terrifier 3 today, I absolutely loved it. It's my favorite in the franchise, right next to number 2, and then the original. I still haven't seen All Hallows Eve. I'm still debating on that, but as of right now, as far as the 3 main ones are concerned, that's 3, 2, and 1. So, yeah, and one thing about this, since this was my first time experiencing a Terrifier movie in the theater, this is probably overall, as far as any movie that I've seen, this is probably one of the best theater experiences I've ever had, for 2 reasons. One, I would say that it was just me and another couple in there, and that was it. 3 people in this theater, so I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not one for a packed theater. I realize that this is probably a movie that you want to see in a packed theater just to see reactions out of people, but, you know, that's cool and all, but I'm just not one for a packed theater. I like to kind of have a theater to myself, or like a few people in there, but just not a whole lot of people around me, you know. I don't like feeling kind of claustrophobic. And so, but yeah, this is one of the best, and the biggest reason that this is one of the best experiences is that this movie took no time getting through. I mean, the 2 hours that I spent in that theater went by really, really fast. And the way and how I knew that is because I had my phone off because my phone was dying, and so my battery was low, so I wanted to save it. So I cut off my phone, so I couldn't keep up with the time or anything, man. I tell you, once that movie started, I felt like it went through like that. And so by the time it was over, I was like, damn, it's over already? It's been 2 hours? I'm like, holy shit, this was a pretty easy watch. I mean, you know, from a time standpoint. And so I was like, okay, that's cool. I like that. I don't think I've ever felt that way about a movie where I felt compelled to look at the time just to see what time it was. This is the first time I think I've ever never looked at the time whatsoever. That's because it was off. My phone was off. So back to the movie itself. Performance-wise, I think Lauren Lavera was fantastic here. I think I liked her character better in Terrifier 2. I think it was a little bit. I think her character was better developed here. But I like how they handled the trauma here. You know, she has visions of her dead best friend who blames her for her and her boyfriend's death. You know, she's struggling to try to reconnect with her younger brother who's now in college, and so he's trying to move on with his life and not dwell on the past while she's still, you know, trying to deal with it. And so I like how they handle that. And then you have this podcaster character who's specializes in true crime, that's trying to get that big story, you know, because she's like obsessed with the Miles County murders and everything, and you know they perceive her as those types of people out there, you know, that leech on the misery of others to try to get a story and everything. So I like how they handle her character there. David Howard Thornton, I mean, what can I say? I mean, I think this is his best performance by far. He's great in the original. He's even better in Terrifier 2, where they lean a little bit more into the silly side, which they still have. They show hints of that in the first one too as well. But here they really know how to. They put more in there, but it's well balanced. It's not over the top silly. They balance it with his violent side and his silly side. And there's just moments in here where you just can't help but laugh, you know. And they work the fact that he's a clown into that as they do in the first two. And so there's moments in here that I just couldn't help but laugh. He just made me giggle and chuckle. Like, my favorite scene is the bar scene. And so there's this bar that he walks by and he sees a Santa in there and this other guy, and the Santa is played by Daniel Roebuck, and you have Clint Howard as well, and he walks in there and he's just giddy. He acts like he's a kid about to sit on Santa's lap, and it's just hilarious. And it's just funny how he lets on to them that he's friendly, but he's still creepy. And just how everything just kind of, that entire scene though, the way it goes down and how everything just goes south, is just absolutely fantastic. And so I love how they balance his performance, how it has balanced his performance here, and all throughout the movie, it's all consistent. And so, like I said, this is David Howard Thornton's best performance as Art the Clown by far. Vicki, who was one of Art's victims in the original Terrifier, she's now like kind of teamed up with Art now, and she's like this, you know, demon possessor, demon thing, kind of his demonic counterpart. And so I thought she was really good too. I like how they get bounced off each other. There's definitely some moments that's really cringy. During a specific kill scene that Art commits, and then she stands by watching, and she does a little something while he does that, and it's pretty disturbing. And I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to get into it here. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. And so, yeah, and then after everything's done, Art just does this, like, naughty. It's hilarious. It's absolutely just another reason why it's just funny. And also what I can appreciate also is the fact that there was a lot of talk leading up to the release of this movie about the opening scene and people walking out and puking and all that. And I definitely can see that. And with the talk of about Art, the possibility of him killing kids, I like how they didn't go too far with that. They go that way, but they don't make it. They don't linger on it. They don't really go way over the top with it or go way too gratuitous with it. And so I'm not going to get into specifics on about the opening scene, but the way they handle one thing about a certain kid character, I really appreciated, because they show it in a way where you just don't see it. You hear it happening, but you don't actually see it. You do see the aftermath, which is not too bad, but as far as not actually seeing it being committed, I think I really appreciated that aspect there. So, and then just and then the final act involving Art and Sienna and this big fight they have. It's just great. And as far as the kills go, I mean, woo! The kills themselves, I mean, it's bloody. It's definitely the bloodiest that I've ever seen. Going through this, I had heard rumblings about how the shower scene with the two college students, which is the Jonathan's roommate, and then his roommate's girlfriend, which is the podcaster. They're the two in the shower, and so there was talk that this shower scene was the scene, much like the bedroom scene and the vaginal scene. The girl hanging upside down shit in the first one. Yeah, this is it. This was it. This was brutal. I really want to talk about this. So if you haven't seen it yet, I want to talk about this scene specifically because it's so over the top and so bad. So if you haven't seen it yet, leave this video and go check out Terrifier 3 and then come back. So this scene in particular, you have these two college students, the roommate and his girlfriend. They're in the shower, they're doing it and everything. Art goes in there in the shower. And before that, there's the conversation that these two people are having. These college students are having about. And she's talking about her podcast, and she's talking about how she wants to be in the presence of evil and know what's going on in their minds. And while this conversation is taking place, Art is standing outside the door, listening in on that conversation and listen to what she's saying and everything, and how he reacts to what she's saying. These gestures and everything is just hilarious. And her boyfriend says, "You're talking like you want to fuck him," and she's like, "No, I don't want to fuck him." And then Art's like, "What? You don't want to fuck me? What?" She's like, "I want to know how. I want to know how. I want to know what this evil thinks and how it smells." And then Art just goes like. It's hilarious. But anyway, back to the kill. They're in the shower, they're doing it. Art standing outside, listening, waiting. He gets the chainsaw out of his bag and just cranks that motherfucker up and just goes right into that shower and just goes ape shit on these two people. He pretty much slices him up, cuts his legs to where he can't walk. And then he kills her and just cuts the shit out of her, slices her up big time, takes his glasses off that he has on. It's like Christmas trees and shit. And he shows his eyes and makes sure that her eyes are open. How is that for the presence of evil and all that? He goes to the boyfriend who's still alive, but he's trying to crawl away, and he takes the chainsaw, sticks it right up his ass, and just goes cranking and just saws away at his asshole, sticking it right up there. And I'm like, oh man. He's just going at it, and then he flips him over and just goes right for his balls and shit. And it's like, it's just gruesome as fucking shit, dude. And then on top of that, the entire floor is, layered with blood, and so it makes this little blood angel like this. So and it's just classic art, man, and just it keeps with the Christmas aesthetic for the movie. And that's another thing about the movie is the Christmas aesthetic is I like it. It's the Christmas feel is very 80s, early 90s. Like I said before, you make a slasher into a Christmas movie, mix it in there with it. You got me. You won me. And so that's the biggest reason why this is number one for me, is because I just love the Christmas feel. And yes, like I said, I just don't have any negatives with this, other than the fact that I thought that Sienna's character was better in Terrifier 2, but I still loved her in this. Also, Jonathan, I feel like that his character was a little underutilized, and so you didn't see a whole lot of him. But I appreciated his personality here versus in the second one, because I like the fact that his character was trying to move on in contrast to his sister, and so he was trying to be strong about it. I just wish that we saw more of him. But other than that, I absolutely love Terrifier 3. I have to give it. I've got to give it a 9 out of 10 because I thought it was. I thought it was fantastic. It's one of the best slashers of the year. Yeah, it's the best slasher of the year. I'm not sure where it ranks on my horror overall, but we'll see. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on Terrifier 3. If you've seen Terrifier 3, let me know in the comments down below. What did you think of it? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe. I'll have a link for my other 2 Terrifier reviews. I love you guys. You guys are the best, and I will see you next time.